Scott Robertson's Music Biz Marketing Strategies. Now, here's your host, Scott Robertson.
Hey, everybody. Happy Friday. You are tuned to May the Best Brand Win on Entertalk Media, the undisputed leader in music biz talk. And I am Scott, your host, and a man who just wants to throw out the first pitch at a baseball game. Just once. I just want to be able to do it. Just once. With me is Paul, a man who may have thrown out a pitch at a celebrity softball game. We don't know. What's up, Paul? How was? Have you ever thrown out a first pitch at a ball game?
No, I have not.
It's on the bucket list. Is it on the list for you?
Not something I ever really think about. I guess maybe now. Now it sounds kind of cool.
It'd be fun. You know, did you see Simone Biles, the gymnast, throw out the first pitch at the World Series this week? So she goes there, and before she throws out the first pitch, and I thought this was brilliant just from a communication standpoint. She does this awesome backflip with the twist right off the pitcher's mound, you know, and does this incredible backflip, and everybody's so stunned by that, and then she just kind of tosses the ball afterwards. Right? So it's like she gets build up, whatever, and you're like, oh, I wonder if she, you know, when everybody's sitting there watching her throw it, and they're so blown away by what she does every day, you know, a million times probably, is like that they didn't even notice when she tossed the ball, you know, because they're already just so busy wildly clapping and. Look at her. She's a ninja.
It wasn't, she didn't mean it as a joke. It was just, she just didn't have much of a pitch.
You know, I think she did it because she didn't want everybody watching her throw the ball, you know, up close or whatever. And so she was just like, I think I'll just do a flip like this. It'll kind of stun him. And then I'll just flip the ball to him. I thought it was well done.
That's a good move. Yeah. Distract them from the thing you're not good at by the thing you're good at.
Exactly. I thought it was pretty good. It was pretty good. How was your gig last weekend?
It was good. I actually had two gigs, two nights. I was like, I'm too
hardest
old,
working man in show business,
too old for this. Yeah, I got one tonight too. Pretty fun. Yeah, get people dancing
out there, getting them dancing. That's what I'm talking about. I got a gig this week myself. I'll be playing somewhere here in Orange County.
Nice.
Well, fun. You guys are smart because you have tuned into the big show, and this is episode 138 of the show. You can catch the other 137, by the way, on iTunes or Google Play. I almost never say that, but you can. You know, So go there, especially if you got the new Mac OS Catalina. You click on the little podcast thing, and then just type in "May the Best Brand Win," and you can see all the episodes. You can also get them on the website, which is robertsoncom.com. But this is this show. We're gonna call it Creepy Marketing in honor of Halloween. Before we get into that, just kind of who am I? How do you reach me? That sort of thing. So I run a public relations, marketing, and branding firm in Orange County, and I help companies of all kinds win in marketing, basically. That's what I do. Help them with the message and getting the message to the target and all the kind of stuff we talk about on the show. Hopefully do it better than their competitors do. How do you reach me? You can send me an email to scott@robertsoncom.com, 2 M's like communications. Or you can find us on Twitter at robertsoncom, 2 M's like communications. Or also on Facebook, facebook.com/robertsoncom, 2 M's like communications. That's how you reach out and find me. Some people do, and they send me cool questions sometimes, and then we get into a little email exchange, about them and those kind of things. And I'll always kind of give you my opinion about what I think, if you tell me what's going on at your company. It never surprised me, by the way. People send me emails sometimes and they say, my boss is an idiot and doesn't want to do this. They're all idiots. Let me give you a giant spoiler alert. Most people that come up and are your boss, they don't know jack squat about marketing. That's actually a big part of your job, is you got to make them look good and you have to educate them despite the idiocy. Really, really important. It's a really, really important part of the job, and it's frustrating, and I get that, because they didn't go to school the same way that we did. They don't know the same things that we do, but you got to respect the fact that, in other areas, they're probably pretty good. And so, it's your job as if they're your client, or your internal client, that kind of thing. It's your job to bring them along and help them learn some of the stuff that we're talking about here on this show and some of the better ways to do marketing. So do that stuff. It's good. You've turned into a good one because we're going to talk about creepy marketing and just kind of all the things that creep me out in marketing and all the stuff that you shouldn't be doing. And it'll be fun. So anyway, spooky, just like Halloween. Very exciting. My number one on my list of really creepy stuff is anything that has to do with listening or spying on people and then using that info to try to sell them stuff. Okay. And I know what you're thinking. You're like, well, Scott, that's the world today, man. There's, companies like, Amazon and Facebook and Google. They're always watching. They're always kind of listening to us. Yes. Unfortunately, that is the world today. There's actually even a new Gmail feature that reminds you to send an attachment if you include the words "I have attached" in your email. That's creepy. That's creepy, right? Because what does that remind you of? If you type something in and it says, you typed "I attached" in this email, but then you didn't attach anything. It's like you're watching my keystrokes. You are watching my keystrokes. Piss off. It's none of your business. You know what I mean? And if it's AI, I was like, it's just AI watching. Yeah, the day's going to come when you're going to be fighting AI and you're going to be wishing they didn't know what you said in your email. You know what I'm saying? I mean, don't think for a second that AI doesn't represent a clear and present danger to the human race. And I don't mean that like in a Terminator kind of way. I mean it in it's going to happen, just a question of when sort of way. So make sure that you know that when you're harmlessly typing in emails and wondering who's watching. It's like if they're watching, they're learning. And if they're learning about you, then you got a problem. So I don't like anything that listens and spies on people. As a marketer, what is the golden rule? What do we try to do in marketing above all else? Build relationships. What is the number one way to destroy a relationship in 2019 and 2020? Spying on people, doing creepy crap. That is how you lose people. That is how you do the opposite of what marketing is supposed to do. Oh, Scott, well, Google says you're supposed to help every customer on every part of its customer journey. Bull crap. Nobody wants that. Every time somebody tries to map out my a path to a sale, to a customer journey and all that bull crap that doesn't mean anything, I think of where's the toggle switch where I can block them? Where is the piece where I can block what they're doing because what they're doing is creeping me out and I don't like it? Where is the privacy setting, or I can find out what information they've collected on me and erase it forever? How can I, much like Mitt Romney, how can I show up on somewhere else with a completely different identity? That's what you're going to start to see. Customers don't want to be spied on. They are going to find a way to fake you out. They're going to find that you think you can track their location on a geolocator. I know 3 apps that send out a false location ping, so they send out a false location. Right? You create these cottage industries when you do stuff that people don't want. What's the other rule of marketing? We listen and respond. We listen to what people want, right? We resist that awesome urge we have to communicate and throw something up at them, and we just listen, and then we say, and now we respond. That's real marketing right there. Their needs in front of your needs, and you do that, you intersect those things, and you get the relationship that we're talking about, the all-important relationship of marketing. So when I'm talking about Siri and Alexa and Cortana and whoever else and those kind of things, they shouldn't be listening to you. They should not be listening to you, but they do. It's going to change. In case you don't watch government affairs very closely, the government is closing in slowly, very deliberately on all these tech companies because we're going to talk about it in winning and losing. They're getting complaints. And when they get complaints, that's that's fuel for the government machine to come after you and shut you down. That's all they need, Anyway, that's my first one. My second one is telemarketing. And I don't feel like I should have to say this to anybody who listens to this program, but if you look down your marketing mix and telemarketing's on there, stop it. Absolutely stop it. That is the worst thing that you could possibly do for a relationship that I can imagine. It is awful. Nobody wants to receive. By the time you receive a call and you realize it's a telemarketing call, your emotional state goes from neutral to I hate you, like that, right? And you don't want the customer in the I hate you mode when you're trying to build a relationship with them. It's just like, why would you start out the relationship from a position of hate? I mean, that's not going to work. I mean, I don't know. I just, it's bad. It's really, really bad. It's really creepy. If it exists on your marketing mix, you got to stop it. You got to stop it yesterday. Oh, Scott, we get sales on that. Forgo the short-term sales. Call me. I'll give you a strategy about how you can attract people to your brand and not have to do all of this creepy crap that makes people want to run away from you screaming. Like in a horror movie. When they were running away screaming, that's the same reaction that people get, to telemarketing bad. Don't do it. I've said it a million times. I still get telemarketing calls. I get calls every once in a while, and they say, or every once in a while, 2 or 3 times a day. I have 2 apps, by the way, that block telemarketers. But every once in a while, someone sneaks through, and they say, Scott, how much capital could you use today? And I'm always like, I changed this, and I go, how'd you get my number? Yeah, I'm on the federal do not call list. How'd you get this number? Yeah, you're breaking the federal law right now. So what's your name again? And where are you? So I can issue a complaint to the FTC? I'm sorry, where? Click. Do that, by the way. That's the best way to get rid of telemarketers. Just start asking them questions back about their business. Oh, that's right. That's right. That's great. I'm excited. You want to give me some capital for my business, and you don't even know me. Where'd you get my information from? Did you buy it? Really? From who? Start asking questions like that. They will go away faster than ghosts, man. Just scattering. So, number 3 thing that I really don't like and I think is really creepy is texting without consent. Got some of these, more ambitious banking companies decide that they can text you without consent. You can't do that, right? You can't do that. It's against a lot of laws. You can't do it, and so, and even if you could, let's say the law would allow it and you're not going to get fined. Don't. Because when I get a text, it's people that are close to me. It's people that I know that are close to me that I can respond with. That's a very close inner circle of friends. And you, Mr. Marketer, you ain't there. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're the brand that I love. Actually, one text I will accept. I'm a huge fan of the Los Angeles Rams, and when they text me with their stuff, I want to know because I want to know what's going on with the team, and I will allow that. That's fine. However, if you're any other business, and I don't care how much I love your brand, I don't care how much I love your brand. I don't care how much business I do with you, whatever else. You do not have the right ever to text me without my consent. Don't ever do it. It's a huge mistake. It's wildly creepy. Don't do it. On that subject, continuing that, door-to-door sales. It's not done very much anymore, but I just saw a thing on Alignable, which I responded to this week. On Alignable, and a business owner was asking, how do you do door-to-door sales and get past the gatekeeper? It seems like they're always stopping me. They're stopping me because you're a creepy butthole, and you shouldn't be doing that. So let me say that again slowly so that you understand. They're stopping you because what you're doing creeps out all of their tenants in the building. Stop it. What the hell is the matter with you is my follow-up. Don't do door-to-door sales, ever. If someone comes to my actual door and I have to get off my butt and I come in there and they're there, it better be a child and it better be a charity or I'm pissed off. I mean, and I will report you to whatever authorities I need to make sure that you disappear and never come back. If it's my business, I'm doing stuff. Let's talk about the relationship for a second. Companies that assert their will over yours are always going to lose. Companies that telemarket you and interrupt your day with their stuff because they think their stuff is more important than you, that's going to lose. Companies that text you and pull you off of what you're going to do without consent, that's going to lose. And showing up at my door and pulling me up out of my chair to where I walk in and I find you, I hate you when I get there. I mean, I'm burning with hate. And I'm the guy that's going to unload on you, so you know. So it's like, don't ever do that. And I heard a lot of people say, well, it doesn't work for every company, but for some companies, don't be desperate. Good God, there are so many better ways to market and attract an audience to you besides you desperately, pathetically walking door to door and begging, someone to work for your company. Good Lord, if that's all you have, then you're not worth anybody's time. Be better. Be better than that. Marketing is supposed to be better than that. And the fifth thing on my creepy list, creepy, scary, list, marketing automation. Marketing automation is not your friend. It does not build relationships. Oh, but Scott, if we send 5 emails out to this person, then we have an 85% chance of possibly triggering a sale. You have a 100% chance of pissing them off. You have a 100% chance of getting reported to the FTC. You have a 100% chance of being creepy. And, none of this stuff you have to do. It's desperate. It's not what good brands do. When's the last time that you got a marketing automation thing from Apple Computer? Never. That's right. Never. They don't stoop to it. The brand's too good for it. When'd you get one from Lexus? I'm not talking about the dealers, right? Because dealers are desperate. I'm talking about the actual brand. The actual brand would never stoop to such a thing because they're better than that. You should be better than that. Your brand can be better than that. I want to hear from you guys, though. What's the creepiest thing you've seen out there? I know I missed some. There's a lot of things going on in the world that, sometimes I get them, sometimes I don't. But email me at scott@robertsoncom.com. I'd love to post a list of things that you guys think are the creepiest things that you see that marketing does. In the time remaining on this segment, I want to just mention to you that I told you the government's circling. They're coming. January 2020, I did an entire show on it. The California Consumer Privacy Act becomes law. It's a real thing. It's a real deal. And companies are going to have to be a lot sharper about what data they've taken in, where they're storing it, what they're doing with it. When customers want you to erase their data, you're going to have to be able to prove that you did it in California. Otherwise, the state of California is going to come for you with what they love to do better than anything else. Find your butt into the Stone Age. That is the plan, right? And they're coming for Google and Facebook first, and then they're going to move out in concentric circles with everybody who works with them. So be really, really careful out there. Like I said, it's not just creepy. That stuff is flat out wrong. Come back, and we're going to talk about who's winning and losing this week in marketing. See you in a few.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
This is Jackie Bertoni from Jackie's Groove. Come join me weekly on my journey through the music business as I take you behind the velvet rope, interviewing industry notables such as Al Di Meola, Michael McDonald, and Al Jarreau, to name but a few. Listen to their stories on being in the studios recording #1 hits and onto the stages throughout the globe. Allow me to be your music historian. You can hear me live every Monday at 2 p.m. and every Wednesday at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time or 24/7 on jackiesgroove.com. Ready to get your groove on?
Hi, I'm Tim Dolbear, the host of Sound Experience on Entertalk Radio. Each week, I talk with top professional audio engineers, producers, musicians, and the manufacturers that make the tools that we use in the studio each and every day. From capturing the perfect take to mastering your final release, and the tools and how the pros use them, we are going to dive deep into their process and learn from their experience. I look forward to you joining us each week on Sound Experience with me, your host, Tim Dolbear.
Make this your vinyl night. I'm John J.R. Robinson, and every week, music creation comes alive through stories, experiences, and sounds when vinyl records filled our hearts and minds. My friends and I share our tips and techniques used in creation of iconic tracks for recording artists such as Michael Jackson, Eric Clapton, Quincy Jones, and Steve Winwood, to name a few. Vinyl has emerged hot, and the soul of vinyl defines art and passion which burns deepest at night. Tune in every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on EntertalkRadio.com.
May the best brand win. with Scott Robertson's Music Biz Marketing Strategies. Now, here's your host, Scott Robertson.
Hey, everybody. Happy Friday. You are tuned to May the Best Brand Win. I'm your host, Scott, and, hanging out, talking about creepy marketing today. We got Paul with us. Paul, you liking the creepy marketing so far?
I love it. I forget to attach attachments to my email all the time. If it wasn't for Google,
you might like that new Gmail feature that tells you wrote I attached, but you didn't attach the file.
I mean, they saved me a couple of times. I'm definitely not a fan of creepy ass AI stuff, but that stuff.
Jeez.
And then the other thing is, they do read your emails, and I don't know if you have like a Gmail app where they give you like 3 like quick response buttons, like, oh, thanks, great, I'll get back to you on that, whatever. Just got these canned responses. I gotta say, sometimes I use them. I'm like, yeah, sure. It's much easier. It's much easier to just press a button and type out, great, thank you.
They know me so well that mine's just a middle finger.
You're losing today. You're losing this week.
Oh, you're losing. You're gone. They're like, Scott, we've noticed a toad. Oh, okay. Let's dig through it. So, okay, here's who's winning and losing this week, folks. Man, so the 2024 Olympic logo was unveiled this week for the Summer Olympics in Paris, and they launched this logo, which kind of it looks like 3 things basically. It looks like the Olympic flame, a gold medal, and it looks like this character from French, I don't know, lore called Marianne, the symbol of the French Republic. Which was kind of interesting. I mentioned it because let's just talk about from a marketing perspective. One of the things that I thought that they did that wasn't great was the fact that anytime you're launching a visual element, you want to make sure that you explain where you were going with it. Right? You don't want to just launch it out there like a bunch of people, like they just kind of threw it out there on Twitter and said, here's the new logo. What do you think? Allow me to tell you what they think. They hate it. They hate it because the internet's full of hate. And when you launch something and go, hey, what do you think? What do you think the response is going to be back? Would you say it's going to be positive, negative, neutral? Negative, massively negative. And people will make fun of it and mock it hard, super hard. And I don't know why people who do the Olympics don't know this, because every time that they launch a new Olympic logo, there's hate. It's hated. There's all kinds of hate. Here's how you get around that. You say, you don't just throw the visual out there and go, here's the new logo. Woohoo, what do you think? You go, this is where we were going with this. You explain what you were going for with words, and explain kind of what you want the brand to mean and those kind of things with words. And then you say, and then knowing that this is what we did. And you make sure those two pieces are joined at the hip. You make sure nobody launches the logo without the explanation. And they did a pretty good job. There's a video of it that kind of explains it pretty well. But there's a lot of places where this appears where the words don't appear. And the way that you get around that is when you're sending it out to the press, for example, you say, we would appreciate it if you didn't just include the logo, but you included kind of the rationale so people know where we were going with this, right? And a lot of press will do that. A lot of people, some people on social media won't or whatever. But you don't just, if it's your feed, you don't just go, hey, what do you think? Like I said, I know what they think. What I think of it is, and I think it looks, it's fine. It looks good, I don't really know who Marianne is or any of that action, but yeah, I mean, maybe it gives us an opportunity to learn about French culture, and maybe that's sort of the point anyway. So anyway, I'm going to put that in losing for the way that they rolled it out, but the logo itself, I'm going to put like maybe a hard neutral. I don't know, maybe that. Let's move on. The FTC came out with some rules today. They said that selling followers and selling likes is officially illegal, along with posting fake reviews. Really important. So FTC has fined Florida businessman German Callas $2.5 million over the sale of fake indicators of social media influence. It's issued a warning to Sunday Riley, whom the FTC says has written fake reviews of her company's products on Sephora's website and has ordered employees to do the same. Both cases could have significant implications for broader digital marketplace. A company called Devumi has been handed a significant fine, which could be a benchmark case for online fake sellers. This is all over social media today, this week, if you want to check that out. But make sure, if you work with influencers, if you do anything related to posting reviews on behalf of clients, be honest about it. Don't lie. Lying is bad for business. I'm not going to get on a moral high horse with you, but lying is $2.5 million worth of bad for business for this idiot in Florida. So losing, all kinds of losing. Don't sell followers. Don't sell likes. Don't post fake reviews. Don't do any of that stuff. Have a great story. Have real people review things. Have real people say things, and that's how you attract people to your brand. Have really good content that's all about we always talk about that, but I'm just saying. So, anyway, FTC, they're watching. They're watching. They're suing. They're bringing in fines. They're putting people out of business. You know what I mean? That's what they do. That's their plan. So, don't be part of their plan. That's what I would say. Oh, my goodness. Man. Losing hard this week is Ernst & Young, who decided to instruct women. They were instructed on how to dress, act nicely around men. At the height of the Me Too movement, the message of this training seminar was, let's see how we can fix the women. This is all over the media. It is ridiculously stupid. HuffPost has a story about it. So here's some of the things that they said in this this training seminar for women at Ernst & Young. When women speak, they shouldn't be shrill. Clothing must flatter, but short skirts are a no-no. After all, in quotes, sexuality scrambles the mind. Yeah. Women should look healthy and fit with a quote-unquote good haircut and quote-unquote manicured nails. This is not the 1950s, folks. When this isn't an old manual that we found from the 50s and said, isn't that funny? This was this week. This is a few pieces of advice that were given to about 30 female executives at Ernst & Young at a training they had in Hoboken, New Jersey. The 55-page presentation, which was used during a day-and-a-half seminar, was given to the HuffPost by an attendee who was appalled by the contents. And then, of course, PR found out about it, and my God, just unbelievable. So here's one thing that they said. You can't even believe this. Here's what they said: women's brains absorb information like pancakes soak up syrup, so it's hard for them to focus. The attendees were told. What? Men's brains are more like waffles. They're better able to focus because the information collects in each little waffle square. My God in heaven. What in the holy hell is that supposed to be? I mean,
it's called a metaphor, Scott.
Oh my God. Women's brains are not like pancakes that soak up syrup. What the hell is the matter with you saying that in 2019?
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
I just can't believe it. It's like I cover so many things on winning and losing, and people say, "Oh, Scott, you got to be making this stuff up." I'm like, folks, ladies and gentlemen, this crap is real. It's really happening. Ernst & Young is a big company with, I'm going to say, some smart people, but the people who thought of this should be hit in the head with pancakes and syrup and waffles and everything else you could find. My God. I mean, you couldn't open up the company to more. If you were doing it on purpose, you couldn't destroy the company's reputation any better. It is literally an act of 100% sabotage. I mean, you're going to have lawsuits. You're going to have bad press. You're going to have everything. My goodness gracious. Oh, my God. I just had to throw that out there, that they're going over this at the height of the Me Too movement. How could you do it? How could you do it? If you want to see the rest of it, by the way, you could. I mean, it's covered widely in the press, the whole Ernst & Young fiasco. But man, they are losing so bad. They're almost just aren't enough words for it. Honestly, that's where you just apologize and go like, we don't know what we're doing. We shouldn't be educating anybody on anything because we don't know what the hell we're doing. Let's talk about Facebook news. So they're losing heart. Let's talk about Facebook news. So they opened up a news hub this week where they're going to pay publishers to post headlines and drive visitors to the websites as a way to sort of make amends with the industry that's been battered by, the social networks doing that. So they're bringing in media partners to kind of do this. And they said, yeah, you can pay us. And they're going to work with, the Washington Post and the Wall Street Journal and BuzzFeed and CNN and Fox News and Meredith and Hearst and everybody else, this kind of thing. I think it's kind of interesting. Zuckerberg was also on Capitol Hill this week talking about his cryptocurrency and talking about a few other things about, censoring different political parties' speech and sort of things like that. It's interesting. I think it's probably winning. I think that doing a curated Facebook news feed and sort of giving kind of equal opportunity to a lot of different news outlets is probably winning for them. It's probably going to increase visibility for what they're trying to do and that kind of thing. And the journalism industry, the publishing industry is woefully poor, and Facebook is wildly rich. And at least until the government comes in and goes after them hard on privacy. Oh, and also antitrust. Don't forget about that. So right now we're going to put that in winning for the Facebook news product, and check it out when you get a chance. I don't normally talk about politics, but this one's kind of marketing, so I'm going to talk about it. The Biden campaign did a huge website and gaffe this week that is just, it needs to be said. The candidate pushed an initiative to reach out to Latino voters called Todos con Biden, or All for Biden. And he talked it up and basically said, encourage people to check out the website of the name. But even as he was promoting the website, his campaign failed to secure the domain name, and the Trump 2020 campaign got it first. So now when people go to Todos con Biden, they get a message in English and Spanish saying, oops, Joe forgot about Latinos. Along with a link to Trump's Latino site. And it gets worse. They failed to lock up the Twitter handle and the Facebook name for the slogan, and Trump 2020 grabbed those too. Oh my, I mean, it's amateur night, man. I don't even feel like I should have to say this, but when you're launching something, you must, before you launch it, you must have secured the rights to all of the assets around it, mainly, so a competitor doesn't, snag it and make you look stupid. Oh my goodness, they're just trolling like crazy. If you go to Todos con Biden, and I encourage you to do it, by the way, you'll see the message in English and Spanish with a link. It's very. Biden's losing, because his campaign is a bunch of idiots, for not being able to lock that up early and that kind of thing. And winning is obviously Trump campaign, which saw it, grabbed it, and then set up the aforementioned trolling. So, like I said, I don't do a lot of politics on the show, but come on, man. I need a segment of this like Sports Center does. Like, come on, man. It's like, come on, man. That stuff is basic. That stuff is easy. And there's everybody should know that. I guess they know it now. I don't know. That's why I say. Let's move on to somebody who's really losing hard anymore as WeWork. So WeWork is really having a lot of problems. They have somebody come into their rescue. SoftBank, their largest investor, is going to take 80% of the company. Obviously, that kind of makes sense. so they're going to be laying people off. The CEO gave an all hands meeting this week. He confirmed the reported layoffs, declined to give any details about how many jobs or which ones will be cut. He did promise that the people who leave will do so with dignity, and the ones who stay will have to work hard to help the company make a historical comeback. That kind of thing. Now, WeWork is certainly was a darling, company. It basically allows entrepreneurs to have kind of, smaller office space and that kind of thing work together, and there's synergy from being able to do that. And they open up offices, all over the place. The problem is they don't really possess a strong knowledge of commercial real estate, and they over leveraged, they opened up all these great lavish spaces. They didn't have enough tenants to get in there. If you're a landlord and you don't have enough tenants to fill the building and then you have to pay for the building, where do you get the money? You don't. You're out of money, right? Over leveraged. Bad idea, bad business. You can't just take an idea and push it through if it's bad business. You got to make sure the business part fits, works, lives on. You know what I mean? That part's got to be there. WeWork's all kinds of losing. SoftBank may come out of this okay. But they're going to have to renegotiate. They're going to have to get some more tenants, and then, of course, when there's all kinds of negative news about the company folding and that kind of thing, that's really hard to attract tenants in that sort of environment. So that is all bad, all kinds of bad news. And finally, let's talk about the ozone layer. So, did you know that the ozone layer right now is the hole in the ozone, which is kind of over Antarctica, the big hole. It's the smallest on record, actually, due to some weather events that are going on. Actually, the hole had shrunk to 3.9 million square miles. Still pretty big, isn't it? For the remainder of September and October, the peak in the hole was 6.3 million square miles. During normal weather conditions, the hole is usually around 8 million square miles during this time of year. So it doesn't mean we've fixed the climate and hey, woo, we're done. We're done here, that kind of thing. But it is some good news about the ozone. And I think NASA, who reports this stuff and explains it, they should be commended for making the best or telling a positive story as it relates. Because obviously all the people in the climate change side of things are like, wait, there's good news in the climate? That's not good. We're going to have to cancel the benefit next month, that kind of thing. So NASA's just a really good kind of, neutral, fact-based reports on that kind of stuff. So they're winning this week. That's who's winning and losing this week. Come on back, folks, and I'm going to give you some tips on how to not be creepy with your marketing.
I'm Tim Dolbear, the host of Sound Experience on Entertalk Radio. Each week, I talk with top professional audio engineers, producers, musicians, and the manufacturers that make the tools that we use in the studio each and every day. From capturing the perfect take to mastering your final release, and the tools and how the pros use them, we are going to dive deep into their process and learn from their experience. I look forward to you joining us each week on Sound Experience with me, your host, Tim Dolbear.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
Make this your vinyl night. I'm John J.R. Robinson, and every week, music creation comes alive through stories, experiences, and sounds when vinyl records filled our hearts and minds. My friends and I share our tips and techniques used in creation of iconic tracks for recording artists such as Michael Jackson, Eric Clapton, Quincy Jones, and Steve Winwood, to name a few. Vinyl has emerged hot, and the soul of vinyl defines art and passion which burns deepest at night. Tune in every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on EntertalkRadio.com.
This is Jackie Bertoni from Jackie's Groove. Come join me weekly on my journey through the music business as I take you behind the velvet rope, interviewing industry notables such as Al Di Meola, Michael McDonald, and Al Jarreau, to name but a few. Listen to their stories on being in the studios recording #1 hits and onto the stages throughout the globe. Allow me to be your music historian. You can hear me live every Monday at 2 p.m. and every Wednesday at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time or 24/7 on jackiesgroove.com. Ready to get your groove on?
May the best brand win with Scott Robertson's Music Biz Marketing Strategies. Now, here's your host, Scott Robertson.
Hey, everybody, it is Friday. You are so smart because you are tuned to May the Best Brand Win on Entertalk Media, the undisputed leader in music biz talk. I am Scott, your host. We're here in segment 3. We just talked about a lot of winners and losers in the world. Paul, of that cavalcade of stupidity, what stuck out? What do you like?
I mean, you did not disappoint when you said bust out the popcorn this week. The pancake. The women's brains are like pancakes, and men's are like waffles. That's
classic.
That's hilarious. I'm picturing like the drunkest Don Draper has ever been, like just muttering that.
In the 50s.
In the 50s.
In the 50s. I mean, could you envision? You're Ernst & Young. You give a training seminar for like 30, young women, and you say that stuff out loud, and you think that not every single one of them is going to send it immediately to the press.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're going to be so offended. First of all, they're going to file a lawsuit, and then they're going to send it to the press to aid in their lawsuit. It's like, I mean,
you got to be like so beyond out of touch.
Which is unbelievable. Unbelievable. I don't even know how you explain something like that. Somebody asked me on social media, they said, Scott, if this was your client, what would you do? I was like, I would just be curious as to how in the holy hell something like that happens.
Ask him what medications he's on. I mean, that just seems like that's something that person thinks inside their skull all the time anyway, which is fine. That's not great, but keep it in your skull. But to put that in this seminar, he must have been on some pills that just completely erase your what's that called? Impulse control.
Impulse control, yeah. I mean, you'd have to. I mean, the only explanation is you have to say, well, we instructed them to go with this copy of the presentation, and they accidentally pulled one from the 50s. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. There was an Ernst & Young historical exhibit. And one of our old 50s presentations, for women.
Yeah, it was an exhibit that was meant to showcase how far they've come since then.
And, there you go. Now we got a story.
And then someone just accidentally swapped them.
This is how far we've come. There you go. That's maybe what I would do.
We've come full circle.
To answer your question, if that was my client, I mean, I don't even know what that conversation looks like. I really don't. It definitely has me saying the words, "You guys are dumber than friggin' dirt," and honest to God, I have no idea how to help you.
I have waffles that are smarter than you.
Oh my God. If waffle and pancake companies could jump all over that too. Just think of the marketing opportunities with pancakes and waffles now. I mean, you'd never see them the same way again, would you?
Yeah.
Oh God, let's finish it up. So it's Friday. It's segment 3. I always try to leave you guys with some fun and interesting tips. Hopefully, interesting tips. This week it's how not to be creepy with your marketing. When we're talking about creepy marketing, talking about the lack of kind of empathy and really thinking about the audience that exists in marketing. That's why things like telemarketing and door-to-door sales and marketing automation and listening and spying on people and marketing's like, that sounds pretty good to me. I hope I got some data. Good God. So here's how not to be creepy. Number 1 answer on the board. Have a great message that's all about them. No one's ever going to find your message creepy if it's all about their needs and how they're going to transform themselves from the character they are today to the character that they want to be in their story, and somehow your, product or service helps them get there, right? Let's go back to one of our classic examples of Apple. You're more powerful than you think. You think you're powerful. You already imagine yourself as more powerful if you get the next iPhone, and maybe you would be. I mean, I don't know, but so you get that iPhone, because it completes a part of you where you're more powerful than you think, and you already think you're powerful, but this can make you even more powerful, that kind of thing. So they move you along your path of your product. That's what's so genius about Apple's branding is they never talk about themselves. They talk about, wait for it, you. The most important word in marketing is what? Y-O-U, you, or your. You or your most important thing you can say, because what are people most fundamentally interested in? Themselves and what they're into and that kind of thing. And I've had some people push back on me and say, well, when we survey people, they say they're not interested most in themselves. Really? Is that what they say? Is that what they say on the survey? Can you, and I say, come here a little closer. Can you envision a scenario where you actually told the truth on a marketing survey? Where you said, yeah, I'm really interested in myself. I love myself. I'm awesome. I am a specimen. I mean, it's like they broke the mold when they made me, and I just want to give myself 5 out of 5. Nobody says that. You're taught not to. Letitia Baldridge in her etiquette book, from the 1960s or whatever, it says it's not polite conversation to talk about yourself, but you can be damn sure that people are thinking about themselves, okay? Because of polite conversation, they're never going to tell you that they're thinking about themselves. But what can we assume logically, knowing what we know about neuroscience and human psychology? That they're thinking about who? Themselves. Their needs, their stuff. It comes from our biological survival instinct. It is not a choice. It is not a thing that some people have. It is a thing that all people have, and you heard it here first. If this is the first time you're hearing that, I suggest you go back and listen to my entire show about messaging, where we dig into the various 7 emotions that where your brand can be anchored, and you can kind of get an idea for what the story should be. But regardless of what that story, if you make the message about them and it's great for them, about their needs and that kind of stuff, then you will never be creepy with your marketing. There's nobody that's ever going to say, wow, that person was talking about my needs way too much, and they helped me get closer to the thing that I really wanted, and now I'm really creeped out by them. That's not going to happen. When people get creeped out is when they get that reaction that you're trying to serve your needs and they're an instrument in it. Right? They're a piece to it. Don't do that stuff, as we talked about. Another way not to be creepy is empathy. Empathy. Really important. What is empathy? Empathy is putting yourself in someone else's shoes. Before you hit send on an email that goes out to 50,000 people, you think through, what is the emotional state of these 50,000 people as they're receiving this email from us? What are they thinking about us? Do they need this? Do they want this? How does this help them? Is any of the content in here, beneficial to them? Is it just, we're desperate to sell you something, and so we got to send we got to ping you because digital marketers who don't know crap about marketing tell us that if you get 4 or 5 stimuli, then the 5th one you'll respond appropriately or whatever. That's not true, by the way. What always happens, what typically happens is they only measure part of the data. When they create that kind of bull crap in marketing, none of that's true. If you send one message and it's untargeted and wrong, they can block you forever, and then they can hate you. And then if you send another one and they've opted out, they can report you to the FTC. You remember them, right, from the last segment? What do? What does the FTC do better than anybody else? Fine people. It's like, no, don't be that. Don't ever be that. None of my clients have any danger of ever being fined by the FTC. Well, why is that, Scott? How can you say that? Because we're not stupid. Because we're not desperate. Because we don't do stupid things in marketing that draw fines. It's not that hard, honestly. Empathy, so important, never used, so important. When you look at that email, that e-blast that you're going to do, and it's not all about them, and it doesn't have value out the wazoo for them, and it isn't awesome, and it's not like, wow, that kind of thing, don't send it. Wait until you get that thing, really in shape for them. Empathy. What would you feel like if you got this? What's this going to do? The unsubscribe button is more present and higher than ever in any emails. I noticed on the new version of, I told you I just got, Catalina, the new Mac OS. On Catalina OS, they do what they did in the phones now. Any group emails have the unsubscribe button in the upper right-hand corner. You don't even have to look for it in the email anymore. You can hit the unsubscribe button from the upper right-hand corner. Apple has made it easier than ever to end a relationship with a company. If you use empathy, they won't have to, because you're all about them. Easy, right? That's what I'm talking about. The third way of how not to be creepy with your marketing is to listen. 2 ears, 1 mouth, all that kind of thing. Organizationally speaking, you better be doing that too. You need to be listening while you're communicating. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're like, well, Scott, you said not to listen or spy on people. Don't do over-the-top creepy things. But if people are talking about your brand, you have every right to listen. If you're Hilton Hotels and somebody says, I hate Hilton Hotels, I stayed here, blah, 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 you'd be irresponsible not to be watching, not to be watching and listening for that. What I'm saying is, and you're invited into that conversation, because if they evoke your brand, then they have said your name out loud. Voldemort, Voldemort, Voldemort. Boom, there he is. You know what I mean? Or is that Beetlejuice? That's Beetlejuice. That's right. Thank you. This time of year, it's Beetlejuice. You say his name 3 times and he appears. Voldemort was that you don't ever say his name because people are afraid he was going to come back anyway, right? We learn new things on the show every week, and that's our one for today. Beetlejuice is the one. But listen while you're communicating. It's really important. It's not done enough. It is not done enough listening. You can learn all kinds of cool things when you listen. When you have an open door, policy, and you're listening to your users. One of my former clients, Beat Buddy, they're so good at listening. And I think that's one of the reasons that they still have a very successful company to this day, is the fact that they listen to their community. They've built a community. They listen. They bring in the features to the next version of products that they think the community would like. They put it out for the community to kind of test things first and those kind of things. Great example of how you can build in listening to your communications. Very, very important. Like I said, not done nearly enough. And then if you are listening, then you're not going to get accused of being creepy, because, hey, you guys were talking about something that we're interested in. We're talking about it together. There's nothing creepy about that. Where listening gets creepy is when you are watching people's keystrokes. Google, yeah, that's going to be illegal soon. When you are, feeding in, purchase data and cookies and all this kind of things, into things, and trying to develop, patterns of behavior and marketing personas based on this kind of stuff. Don't do stuff like that. Creepy, bad. That's bad listening. Bad listening, and soon the listening that the government's going to shut down. Which brings me to number 4. Another way not to be creepy is to comply with the law. As a communications professional, it is your job to know communications law. And I've had people say to me, well, legal will help us. They may not be an expert in communications law, but they sure as hell will when they get a complaint. You know what? You'll be surprised how quickly you hear from them then. It is your job. If you are responsible for marketing for an organization, then you are responsible for making sure your communications do not expose the organization to unnecessary legal liability. That is part of your job. It's also called protecting the brand, called a lot of things. You need to know the California Consumer Privacy Act. You need to know the GDPR out of the UK, because your website probably gets visited by people from the UK. You need to know the federal canned spam email laws that have been amended since. and are still very, very active, but have been amended. You need to know the rules for how to use personal information and those kind of things. And it changes quite a bit. We talk about it a lot on the show. I have privacy attorneys come on the show from time to time, but you need to be well versed in the law. I do consulting for companies on CCPA. I make sure that all of my clients, are well versed in what's going on with CCPA. Like I said, it's coming in January 2020, so you better be ready. You better know how it applies to you, and those kind of things. If you have any questions about those kind of things, you can always reach out to me. I'm an expert in protecting privacy for two reasons. One, I steep myself in it because it's a big part of my job. And the second reason is because I legitimately care about building relationships, and getting privacy wrong is the surest way I know how to blow them and screw them up, mess them up, destroy them for life, unsubscribe for life, that kind of thing. We don't want that. No relationship left behind, really important. So comply with the law. And if you're in compliance with the law, you're probably not going to be creepy with your marketing. But like I said, the compliance with the law is like the minimum. And then you think, then you think, well, obviously we're, like tip number 5 here is another way not to be creepy is that we're working hard to build relationships with everything that we do. The business of marketing is the business of building relationships. Don't ever let anybody tell you it's anything else than that. Don't ever let anybody tell you that it's about launching products and selling. It's not. It's about your brand having a relationship that they control with your customer. It is about that relationship. Everything that you do is about that, right? And it needs to be. You need to think through every single time. You need to look through every single, person that has reached out to your brand and say, how do we build a better relationship with this person? How can we be more like what they want us to be? That kind of thing. The biggest brands in the world do it really, really well. And you can too. You absolutely can too. So what have we learned today? It is spooky out there. And, if you see more spirits around floating than usual this year, that's because a lot of marketers have kind of lost track of their soul, But you do not have to be like them. You can be like us and do marketing the right way, the legal way, and, the way that wins. I help companies. I always say that I help companies win at marketing. What I mean by that is we're in the relationship business. We don't do anything creepy or scary or weird or freaky. It's going to blow those relationships. Have a happy Halloween, and we'll see you soon with a brand new, fresh show. Have a good one. Bye-bye. You know what's all around you every waking moment of your life? Marketing. You're choking on it. I'm Scott Robertson, and when it comes to strategic PR, branding, and marketing, I've seen it all. And actually, I'm still seeing it because bad marketing never sleeps. Join me each week on May the Best Brand Win, right here on Entertalk Radio, and learn how to make the marketing for your brand unforgettable.
Hi, this is Tim Dolbear from Eclectica Studios. I'm a full-time mixing and recording engineer. I work with Grammy winners, labels, and indie artists, using state-of-the-art digital mixing and restoration tools and the very best in analog gear. Really, though, it's my ability to bring tracks to life and fulfill your vision for your music. This has made me sought after by producers and artists worldwide. So spend your time working on music and not chasing a mix down a rabbit hole. Go to timdolbear.com and check out our free one-song mix offer.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
This is Jackie Bertoni from Jackie's Groove. Come join me weekly on my journey through the music business as I take you behind the velvet rope, interviewing industry notables such as Al DiMeola, Michael McDonald, and Al Jarreau, to name but a few. Listen to their stories on being in the studios recording #1 hits and onto the stages throughout the globe. Allow me to be your music historian. You can hear me live every Monday at 2 p.m. and every Wednesday at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time or 24/7 on jackiesgroove.com. Ready to get your groove on?